Okay, so the plasma shotgun. The more I played with this weapon, the more I've realized it's more so a weak grenade launcher or a weak energy grenade launcher. It is completely incapable of closing bug holes. Its weird arc takes a minute to get used to, but once you figure out how to arc the weapon so you can get direct hits, which seems to do more damage than the splash damage, and the weird projectile. What I mean by that is when you're shooting the weapon and the plasma round arcs to an enemy, it'll just go through the limbs and just completely miss. Even and then once you look closer, you'll see that the projectile just clips through the enemy and just completely misses. Or when it's supposed to do splash damage, it doesn't do that. It'll just completely not damage the target. And I personally think the weapon has a bit of a small ammo pool and not being able to do enough damage to enemies. It doesn't have to do crazy damage like compared to a support weapon. Just enough damage so you can be able to defend off against enemy hordes while your stratagems are on cooldown. A primary weapon should be at least that weapon that carries you over until your next stratagem is available to be used. But seemingly it's not the case when you have both complex stratagem plotting and orbital fluctuations active at the same time. So it causes you to lean on your primary weapon. It's only ever useful for clearing out little roaches. That's it. When it comes to the more armored enemies, it can take most, if not your whole magazine. And you only get, I believe, 7 or 8 rounds. And the brood commander can take anywhere between 5 to 6. The armored warriors can take 3 to 4. Now, what would be nice if the plasma shotgun could just, or a plasma launcher, that's basically what it is. It could, when you're aiming towards limbs, it could burn off the limbs. It could be really amazing when it comes to limb damage over, say, shooting the main body or the crest of the head. It should do some type of chip damage to where it can burn away or melt away enemy armor. And it'd be really useful, especially when hitting the weak spots or the soft spots on a charger or the I like to call them the BBL bug. It should do amazing damage when it comes to those type of weak spots. Or when it comes to the Bile Titan, it should be able to burn away the soft spots and cause the bleed out effect for Bile Titans. Because right now, they don't bleed out at all. Even when you have them fully damaged, they can just keep going, and you're wasting ammo, and then you have to waste an extra stratagem slot or extra stratagem use. Excuse me. I feel as though this weapon should be more so an energy launcher instead of a shotgun. That's all it is. It's a grenade launcher masquerading around as a pump action, and it shouldn't be that. I feel the projectile should be bigger and pack just a bit more of a punch, and should be useful when you're using splash damage, just in case an enemy gets a little too close, because this gun can harm the user more than the enemy, which is kind of funny. But the game shouldn't use weapons that it's more dangerous for the wielder instead of the target, but instead it should have been an energy launcher. That way you can have it'll be more of an excuse to have just a bit bigger projectile. The projectile should do really good damage when it comes to soft spots and limb damage. The weapon should have pretty good splash damage for when an enemy gets just a little bit closer, so it can be more useful. But definitely it's a better choice over the blitzer by a mile at least. You would think using that primary weapon, it'll just not really do much damage. It's really weird to gauge if you're doing damage on an injured Bile Titan with the plasma shotgun, because it'll use the deflection icon when you're hitting it, but you can't really tell if you're doing damage. It's weird. And then you shoot at it and then it just falls out, and it's like, oh, you're kind of surprised that you're able to do damage like that. You should be able to melt away armor using a plasma-based weapon. It should at least, again, it should strip away armor of armored enemies. So where if you do enough damage, you can create a weak spot, or you do enough damage to the soft parts. If you damage the soft parts, you can cause the bleed out effect. I think even the Bile Titan should have that, yet it doesn't. I don't think armored enemies should be able to deflect plasma rounds. If the weapon was a full-on shotgun, it should have packed a more powerful punch, and it should be in a spread. The plasma projectile should be in like a buckshot type spread, but not really. It should fire off just little rounds, tinier plasma rounds, but not in such a big spread like the traditional shotguns. That way, the multiple projectiles can hit a single spot on a target. It can get rid of limbs. It can be still really good at splash damage if it was just a full-on shotgun. But right now, it's in a weird state between I'm a shotgun, but I'm not really a shotgun. And either side, it would have been completely fine and justify why it is completely incapable of closing bug holes. But anyways, that's been my thoughts on the weapon. Be sure to comment down below your thoughts and please subscribe. I'm out.